So, Mike, we have to talk about several things. First of all, the For the People Act. Is that thing going to pass in the Senate?
No, and if they try to do it, it'll be over my dead body that it passes.
But don't say that. It might be.
This thing not only renders major parts of the Constitution superfluous, it renders the people superfluous. It consolidates government in Washington. It makes it impossible for states to require a voter ID. It makes it impossible for states to prohibit someone from showing up on the same day and registering to vote on the same day that they vote. And it requires at least 15 days of early voting. It makes the verification process almost impossible to comply with. And if there's one part of it that caught my attention, there's even a part of it that can be read to suggest that they're going to start allowing 17-year-olds to vote, which, I would have loved, because in the fall of 1988, George Herbert Walker Bush was on the ballot. I was the president of the Teenage Republican Club at Kempview High School in Provo, like all the cool kids.
Yeah, you were cool from the beginning.
I actually wrestled with the idea of wishing I had a fake ID just so I could vote, but I knew that wouldn't be right, so I didn't do it.
Yeah, well, the Mike Lee crime spree finally comes out. So, Mike,
but I want to be clear, I didn't do it. I just thought
right, I know. So, Mike, it's not going to pass any form of it.
Well, look, they're going to try. If not for the filibuster, they would pass this, and they would probably pass it tomorrow. They're still going to try to pass it. I'm not sure when they're going to try to bring it to the Senate floor, but I'm confident that they're going to try to get around the filibuster.
So do you have any confidence anymore in Manchin? Now he's starting to there's some nuance there.
Yeah, I worry a little bit about the fact that he is now targeted for immense pressure to be brought down on him, and that he's in a position now of wanting to accommodate Democratic leadership whenever he can. And that worries me a little bit, because there are a lot of tricks they can play. There are a lot of things they could do to convince him, oh, no, we're not nuking the filibuster. This is just a minor technical correction. We're not nuking the filibuster. All we're asking you to do is take a walk, be out of the room, while we have Vice President Harris rule that 51 votes somehow satisfies the cloture standard, and then just don't join the Republicans in voting to appeal the ruling of the chair. That sort of thing can chip away at the filibuster and effectively nuke it without ever requiring Joe Manchin to vote affirmatively to do so. That scares me to death.
So this is the changing of the voting system. It becomes almost irrelevant in my opinion, and very unconstitutional. The federal government does not have a right to do any of this according to the Constitution. Now let me switch to another topic. Biden has just said that he is encouraging the Senate and the House to pass the PRO Act. And that is you want to talk about a pro-union giveaway. That's it. Tell me what you know about the PRO Act.
I know very little about the PRO Act. I can imagine that it probably has something to do with card check. They probably want to take away the ability of workers to cast a private ballot.
It absolutely does.
Making it easier. Okay.
It goes a lot further than that, but it does have that in it.
Yeah. I mean, look, workers have got the right to form organizations, but we've got established laws that govern the process of workers making that decision. And it's important that workers be given the chance to cast their votes with a secret ballot and not being watched by people who might impose consequences on them if they don't vote the way they want to. That's a pretty fundamental part of our labor law system. And if they want to undo that, perhaps they just want to empower the unions, not necessarily the workers they represent, but the union bosses. That's not cool.
So it also gets rid of the gig economy. And it says it's protecting those people, but basically it's redoing what happened in California, and the people went nuts when that happened. So
he wants us to go back to the era of having to sit in smelly taxi cabs.
yes,
I mean,
yes.
that is absolutely absurd. He might as well require us to go back to the era of the 8-track cassette tape and the era of the tinfoil TV dinner. I mean, look, there are a lot of things that we've moved beyond as a society. And the old pre-gig economy is not something any of us are anxious to go back to. But I can understand why someone wedded to big labor bosses, as opposed to the workers those people represent, would want to shun technology like the plague. It would want to deprive society of the many benefits associated with it. It's tragic, but sadly not that surprising.
All right, talk to me about a $30 trillion debt. And your comment, I thought, was great on this. It's not like Republicans can say, hey, we did everything we could. They're part of the problem.
Yeah, well, first of all, we went on a massive spending spree over the last year, and really over the last 4 years. Republican spending has not exactly been a model of restraint. This one takes it to a new level. This one makes an art form out of using COVID as the ultimate excuse for getting away with anything you want, even if it's hurting other people. So about $2 trillion that was spent, very little of it actually was tied to COVID. And this comes about, by the way, at a moment when it'll take us up to a $30 trillion debt. Comes about at a moment when we're starting to see light at the end of the tunnel. Vaccines are coming out. Immunity is building. Infection rates, hospitalization rates, death rates are going down. We're spending $2 trillion extra in the name of COVID, but very little of that actually goes to COVID. In fact, less than 1% of that bill
That's crazy.
goes to vaccine production and distribution. So what the heck is it then? Well, $1,400 checks, and then you got your $375 billion going to state and local governments, which, by the way, are roughly on par with where they were expected to be revenue-wise. Some states have even seen their revenues go up.
Yeah.
This is just a big giveaway, especially to a lot of states that have been loyal to Democrats, and I find that really offensive.
So, Mike, what do you need from the people? Because I think people want to do something. They just don't believe that anything will change. And then also people feel very alone right now. What can the people do?
All right. What the people can do, anyone within the sound of my voice who happens to agree that we've got a problem with Washington, this stuff is just gross, just focus. Anytime you get a chance to talk to a member of Congress or somebody running for any federal office, talk to them about the fact that you'd love to see the federal government just do the things the federal government is supposed to do. That means borders, immigration laws, weights and measures, trademarks, copyrights, and patents, national defense, declaring war, granting letters of marque and reprisal, bankruptcy laws, regulating international and interstate trade. That's about it. Focus on that stuff. Focus on Article 1, Section 8. Leave everything else to the states. It's already the law. It's already the Constitution. It's already the case that every member of Congress and every president has taken an oath to affirm that same principle. We got down this rabbit hole because starting about 85 years ago, Senates, Houses of Representatives, and White Houses of every conceivable partisan combination have been engaging in this legislative orgy that assumes that everything is appropriately federal. And they're spending more and more and more money doing a lot of times stuff that really isn't any of our business. Spend most of that at the state and local level. Send most of this federal authority back to the states where it belongs. That's where I think the message needs to be.
Mike Lee, thank you so much. I appreciate you standing. I can't imagine how frustrated you are to be working in that, but I'm glad you're there. Thank you so much, Mike.
Hey, thanks so much, Glenn. It's not that bad if you don't think about it. You just keep plugging along.